At the time, I was working in the field of television production, and I was interested in moving into education. So it actually took a while for me to actually figure out what I needed to do. I started calling other teachers I knew. I was calling the county department of education, and I just couldn't get a straight answer, which I thought was strange. But yeah, I just couldn't get a straight answer about the alternate route certification for me and my field and what I wanted to do. Eventually, I just happened upon a woman who did know everything that I needed to know, and she was in the county education office. She knew everything that I needed to know, but it was very difficult to find her. It actually took months of phone calls for me to be able to find this person who knew the answers. And then once I found her, it was really easy. There's a lot of work that you need to do, a lot of paperwork. There's money involved, you have to pay fees for things, and I had to go back to, get my college transcripts, had to go back to different employers that I had. So it was a lot of paperwork, but it was once I found that one woman who knew the exact process, it was really easy. It was, 1, 2, 3, 4, you do all these things, and then that was it. If you're a person who hasn't gone to college for education, you can still teach in the field that you have worked in. So, for example, I worked in television production for, like I said, about 10 years, so I wanted to teach television production. You do still have to have a bachelor's degree, but based on the education that you do have and based on your work experience, you can become certified to teach that subject through an alternate route certification, so you don't have to go back to school for education to get your teaching certificate. Once you fill out all that paperwork, you get what's called a certificate of eligibility. That allows you to interview and be hired for a job. Once you're hired for a job, you can teach. So I was hired and started teaching, but at the same time I had to take special alternate route certification classes. And these are classes that are offered. You just talk about kind of educational theory, all the big names in educational theory. I think it was a year. I think it was a year of those classes twice a week, and it's a couple nights a week, and it's all people like me who had been working in their own field for years and now wanted to move into education. So we have all the knowledge of our subject area, but don't have all that background of education. My certification is in broadcast technology, and since I teach television production, that makes sense. I started the certification process first. There was a few jobs that I had looked at while I was still in that process where I was getting the paperwork from employers and all of that, but I really didn't actively start going to interviews until I finished the process. And legally, you have to have the certificate. And I didn't even, broadcast technology, that was something that this wonderful woman who I found, she told me that that's the certificate I needed. I didn't even know what it was called, what the certificate would be. I knew what my experience was in, but I didn't know what it was actually called. First thing is, you can actually go directly to the website of the school where you want to work. If you know, okay, I want to work at Hunterdon Central Regional High School. I'm not promoting that school necessarily, I'm just saying, if you know that you want to work at a certain school, you can go to that school's website and look up employment opportunities, because they will post on their websites usually. Where I found a lot of good job opportunities was, one is a website called k12jobs.com, the other one is called njschooljobs.com. It really is dependent on where you live, but a good place to start is the county, your county. Another thing is not to get frustrated. It can be very frustrating, and you just have to keep calling and keep looking, and then once you find out what you need to do, just stick to your list and what you need to get done. A lot of us coming from the corporate world or an arts world, we're not used to a lot of the bureaucracy that comes with working in a public institution like a public school. So it can be kind of confusing and frustrating for a lot of people who are used to working in a certain way wherever they are, but don't get frustrated. Another thing is, when you do start your job, an alternate root certified teacher. You're coming from a corporate world, you're coming from a different world than education, and that's another place where it can become frustrating. When you start working in a school, I remember thinking, well, why do they do this way? That doesn't make sense, but it's just how they do it, and you just have to figure it out, and kind of there's that balance between figuring it out and working within the system, but also bringing, we're all coming from different worlds, and so bringing what you have to offer to the job. My interest started in high school, and I always really liked educational television and documentaries and basically using television as a way to learn. So I did that for a long time, and then it just got to a point where I was ready to do something different. So then I turned it around. Okay, well, using television to learn, well, how about I just teach television? So now here's these younger people that have new ideas and new interests. If I can teach them how to use media to express themselves, that's just another side to my whole interest in video and education.